Well, the time is just gone 15 minutes past 9 as we continue with the second half of this morning's edition of News and Views right here on As-Salam Media. Now, yesterday was Nakba Day, and we're talking of 77 years since the Nakba of 1948. And there was quite an interesting observation that was made by Islam City Weekly, asking the questions: Are South African Muslims betraying Palestine? And we know that we have a long history of standing in solidarity with the people of Palestine, their quest for freedom, their quest for justice. And we've seen the South African Muslim community playing a pivotal role in raising awareness, in expressing solidarity on the Palestinian issue, offering much humanitarian assistance and need to support the Palestinians, championing the cause long before it became so popular. But it is sad to say that in certain areas, in certain provinces, and I know many of us do identify with the Palestinian cause. So it's not betrayal in the true sense of the word. But when it comes to events, when it comes to observing days like Nakba Day, when it comes to expressing our support and coming out in the open, and this sometimes raises a number of questions. We know not very long ago we had the protest action that had taken place at the Egyptian embassy, and it was pretty disappointing to note that there were not as many people as were expected, and I'm not too sure whether it is just pure fatigue on our part, or is it just pure laziness, or is it just not a lack of there's just a lack of interest. Now, once again, from time to time, we're going to see these events coming up. And this is what we are actually doing. We are encouraging people that we need to come out. We see it right across the entire world, where we see communities outside of the Muslim community. We see it in major cities right across the world. Hundreds of thousands of people that come out into the street to voice their concerns, to make their voices heard, and to raise their voices on behalf of the voices or the voiceless of the people of Palestine. Now, once again, tomorrow presents another opportunity. Tomorrow, a Nakba Day rally that is going to be taking place in Durban, and it's going under the banner of resist, and return. We shall return. That is the hashtag, their line that is actually being used, and this is being hosted by People Against Oppression. And we're joined now by one of the organizers, Hamzah Khan, joining us out of Durban this morning. Brother Hamzah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome and Jazakallah khairan so much for your time.
Wa alaikum salam and jazakallah for having me today.
Yes, Alhamdulillah, once again, another opportunity to host a rally to create awareness. And I know there are a whole host of activities that are actually planned for tomorrow, Saturday, the 17th of May, from 10 o'clock till 4 o'clock. And this is taking place at the Overport Secondary School grounds. And the point I had made earlier again is we encourage people when occasions like Nakba, they actually are there for us to be part and parcel of this, so that we can send out a strong message and also make a very, very powerful and a profound statement, Hamza.
Absolutely, G. I think with the Nakba Day having been on the 15th, it is our duty as Muslims, it is our duty as pro-Palestinians to make sure that that day does not go unrecognized. I think, and with this event being a team effort by various organizations, not just PAO, but also other organizations, we've come together to coordinate this event with the sole purpose to create awareness, and that is to create awareness and educate the masses about the atrocities that are being committed in Palestine. You know, it's we don't have the privilege to go on the front lines and be part of the war and fight on behalf of our fellow brothers and sisters, but we do have a responsibility to direct our efforts wherever we can. And awareness, education, empowerment is a big part of that.
Well, certainly, in fact, and I think you make a very, very good point in terms of where our physical presence cannot be there, but we can be with them in spirit. But more importantly, to continue raising awareness and not to allow fatigue to actually creep in, because the point I always make, as relentless as this genocide has been, as relentless as this bombing has been, as brutal as it has been, with savagery as well, and we see it even right now while the Gulf states are talking with Donald Trump. We still see hundreds and hundreds of people. And earlier on, we spoke to Zinat Adam, and she says, well, last night was one of the worst nights, where the occasion of Nakba Day was once again used by the Zionists, by this brutal machinery to kill once again hundreds of people. And this is the reason why, Hamza, we emphasize over and over again how important it is for us to actually, at the very least, raise our voices and make a statement.
Absolutely, and we've been following the latest updates on that, and it's absolutely sad that, as you mentioned, the atrocities are being upscaled to that level. But as South Africans, being thousands of kilometers away, what can we do? Look, like I said, we cannot be on the front lines and participate in the war, but we can make a difference. And that is simply with the few things that we have already been circulating on social media and that most Muslims already know, which is simply to boycott, divest, and sanction. If we collectively put our efforts together and make sure that we don't support Israeli-backed companies, we don't, continue to economically inject into their businesses and let them grow their weapon and fuel their economy, then at least we are playing our role, and that is should not be seen as a noble act. That is simply our duty as Muslims. We have to do that, and I say as Muslims primarily, but it is not a religious issue. Like we all know, it is a simply a humanitarian issue, which is why tomorrow at the Nakbadi rally, we're going to have other interfaith speakers. Like we will have a pastor on the speakers list, a pundit, a Jewish rabbi, all to show the masses that this is not a Muslim issue and we are dealing with a humanitarian crisis on a exponentially worse level than what we've ever seen.
Yes, and also I think, I'm just looking at the banner, and obviously, talking about exist, resist, and return, and these are just not words. This is just not empty rhetoric, because this is actually serious. Because if one breaks down the banner under which this Nakba Day rally talking about exist, and at this point in time, we know that there is talk of ethnic cleansing of the people of Gaza. So their very existence is under threat. And we see what is happening with their resistance as well, how it has been meted with brute force, with savagery, with brutality, thousands upon thousands. And we know that now that Gaza has turned into mountains of rubble, it is not now homes that are being bombed, it is rubble that is bombed. And more importantly, what the Palestinians have been calling for over and over again, their right to return. So, this alone, these three words, again, send a very, very profound message. And I'm sure with all the activities that you've got lined up tomorrow, whether it's the speakers, whether it's going to be the poetry, the arts, the cultural, the flag parade, all of this is actually once again going to send a very, very strong message.
Absolutely. I think a big tool in our arsenal is to unite our community. And if this Nakba Day rally, through the various culture that we have planned, the sport, the art, the poetry, if that can unite our community under the banner of exist, resist, and return, then I think that's a good foundation moving forward for our collective efforts having some sort of impact.
Well, inshallah, we hope that all goes well. And let's just remind Hamza, let's just remind people in terms of tomorrow. I know it's taking place at 10 until 4 o'clock, but is there any other information that people obviously who would want, and we hope and we encourage people to actually come in their droves, in their hundreds, in their thousands to this rally as well? What sort of message are you giving them as they would prepare themselves to come through to the event?
I think for anyone who is interested in coming or those who may not see interest, I can tell you that as much as we all may know to some extent what's going on in Palestine, by attending rallies like this and having people of, highly qualified speakers come and inform us of the actual atrocities, the actual stats, what's really happening on the ground. It gives us a visual idea of the scale at which atrocities are being committed against our fellow brothers and sisters. And that gives us the drive, that gives us the motivation to continue, or to start actually properly boycotting these products, and spreading, keeping the name of Palestine on our lips and in our hearts. And we'll have for the kids, bring your kids. We'll have sport, and we have kiddies activities. We have a few food stalls. Look, the intent is not to create a market atmosphere. It is very much educational and informative. But we have food stalls. We have various people. Even if you don't necessarily want to come to get empowered, you will leave. Definitely, you will leave being empowered on what's happening on the ground in Palestine.
Well, Jazakallah khairan so much for that, Hamza, inshallah. And once again, we repeat tomorrow, 17th of May, from 10 o'clock until 4 p.m. at the Overport Secondary School grounds, inshallah, on Brickfield Road in Overport. Hamza, inshallah, we wish well. And I'm sure, on social media and other platforms, we obviously will be watching some of the footage that comes through and some of the developments that will be taking place, inshallah, at this rally. So we wish you well, and also to all the organizations. And we thank you. We say Jazakallah to you for taking time out this morning and updating us right here on Assalam Media. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam, and I hope to see your listeners at the rally, inshallah.
Inshallah, Ameen. That was Hamza Khan, People Against Oppression, joining us this morning, and once again highlighting the fact that we cannot sit silent. And as South Africans, and as I mentioned right at the beginning, we have this history of standing in solidarity with the people of Palestine. But let us use whatever we've had in the past from the history. Let us also use whatever we put out on social media, and let's not just sit on our telephones and comment, and on various groups as well. It is time for action, and it is time to mobilize. It is time to move. And when we're talking about moving, let us make sure that we attend these rallies, because physical presence makes a huge difference. It makes a massive impact. And at the end of the day, this is the least that we can do. Physically, we may not be able to be there in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Jerusalem, wherever these atrocities are obviously taking place, but in spirit, we are with them. And again, it provides a lot of encouragement to the people of Palestine when they see these visuals of this level of support that they get from right across the entire world. South Africa held in very, very high regard by the people of Palestine. Let us do what we need to do by attending events like these. The time is just gone 9:27. We come back, we'll be joined by Sheikh Saeed Nkani.